Right on. Here come the early birds. Hello, Kristen and Marshall. Thank you for being here. Settle in. We're going to begin in about 4 minutes. Nice. Donna has joined as well. And Melissa. Hey, Melissa. You folks are tasked with an important job being the early birds. Can someone in the chat or give me a virtual reaction confirm you can hear me, see me, and see the presentation? That would be glorious. Thank you very much. Yeah, I love getting that thumbs up emoji. Thank you, team. I'm always like 99% certain it's working, but I like to check, right? Just in case. While we're waiting for some folks to join, let us know in the chat where you're joining from today, and please make sure to toggle it to everyone in the little chat box so everyone can see. Saskatoon, lovely Saskatoon. I always love when I fly into Saskatoon, there's a hug rug at the airport where you can greet your loved ones. I always thought that was so cool. Joining from Calgary, beautiful day here. Lovely. Glad to hear that. Alberta being represented. I was just in Edmonton last week. Very cool. Nice. Houston, Texas. Thanks, Melissa. I've not been there yet. I would like to go. We can get started in just about 2 minutes. We always give a little bit of grace, especially if you're on the Eastern time zone. It's right at noon. It's right at lunch. So people are always a couple minutes delayed. Right on. A couple more folks have joined. Hello, Michelle. Thanks for being here. Giving it one more minute, feeling generous and graceful today, giving some grace. And then we're going to get started. Lots to cover today. Fun one. Nice. Hello. A couple more people have joined. Welcome. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds. All right, team. Without any further ado, we are small, but we are mighty. Thank you so much for joining us here today for our free monthly Ninja Skills Booster. And today we're talking about stopping the stress cycle, going from drained to dynamic, which is going to be a fun one to go through today. Lots of, again, practical things to take away from today. Some of you are joining us for the first time on one of these skills boosters. Some of you are, seasoned veterans at these skills boosters. Let's check. Give me a virtual reaction, one of those thumbs up if you've joined one of our skills boosters or been on any of our full Think Productive sessions before. Let us know. A couple of us. Hello. Yeah. Well, whether you're joining for the first time or the first time in a while, my name is Nick. I am a productivity ninja. That's the actual job of the title I have, and it's amazing. And I work for a company called Think Productive. And Think Productive is a global training company. Offices obviously here in Canada, the United States, the UK, Australia. And a lot of what our programs are based on the best-selling book, How to Be a Productivity Ninja, from our founder and head ninja, Graham Alcott, out of the UK. And we're taking kind of pieces from a few different programs today to give you, again, the Stop the Stress Cycle webinar today. If you've never joined us on a webinar before, the rules of the road, what are we going for today? Well, we're going to be looking to give you some, quick tips, some practical pieces of advice, about half an hour in content, probably be about 25 minutes-ish. And then we'll stick around for some Q&A if anyone has any. And again, feel free to just pop anything into the chat. Again, not many of us today, so we are small, we are mighty. We don't have to go through the formality of the Q&A tab. Just put it into the chat. I'll check it out. The chat is open. Many of you have already said hello in the chat. Thank you for doing so. I'm going to be asking you a bunch of stuff into the chat today. Let's have some fun. Let's have some engagement. It's a safe space. So again, I might read some stuff out loud. If there's anything you'd prefer not to share, you can send me a private message as well. Here we go. So if you have read or if you're familiar with the book, How to Be a Productivity Ninja, this is my favorite line in the whole book. And this is Graham there, the handsome devil. Productivity is making space for what matters. Love that, right? It's not about, squeezing out as much as possible. It's about making space for what matters in your life, what matters in work. And we're going to be very intentional today about talking about making space. I'm intentionally going a little bit slower today. If you're familiar with me, I get excited and I start talking really fast about this stuff. But today I'm trying to go slow and being intentional about making space, because this is often how we are in our days, right? We are very overwhelmed. Sticky note Steve here, my best friend, because our brains are these magical things, but they're not great at organizing. So we'll have a lot of different things, ideas pop into our heads, throughout the day. But we often don't put a whole lot of structure in it. So there's things like, deadlines and maybe assignments and, things that are practical for work, projects. And then there's things like, oh, there's kids soccer this weekend, and there's this barbecue, and there's song lyrics from the 90s. And right, all these things are kind of swirling around our brain, and we don't really have a full kind of structure on it. Thank you for laughing along to that. What does your sticky note, Steve, look like? What are some things that kind of swirl around in your brain? Pop them into the chat. We can have some fun with this. Yeah, some things are useful. Some things are not, right? Some things are useful now. Some things are useful later. So we always advise having what we call a brain download. And we do this, with all our programs. If you've been on any of our programs, it's one of our things that we're very high on is sitting down and just getting things out of your cluttered brain, getting them into a system. We call it a second brain. Because the great quote from David Allen, who's, productivity godfather, is our minds are for having ideas, not for holding ideas. So we often talk about sitting down intentionally, once a week, maybe more, and just doing a brain download. What's on my mind? What's on my mind that's not yet completed? And you can do this across personal and professional. Oh, I still need to change that light bulb. Right. That's going to be swirling around in my head until I need to actually think about it. Or I still have this project to deliver, or I have this deadline, or I have this submission, what it is. Yeah, there you go. Deadlines, World Cup games tonight, family illness, work changes, cleaning the house. So all of this is swirling around. And then when it comes time to doing something with it, yeah, oh, I got to remember to walk the dog. Love it. Thank you. Right. So getting some of this out of your brain, some of this is going to be not too taxing, not too burdensome to carry around. Like, oh, right, I need to check the score in the World Cup game. We don't doesn't really bother us to hold that around, but that deadline, right, the cleaning the house, we might want to get that down so we don't lose it. So yeah, sometimes we have a brain overload, and what we recommend instead is a brain download, getting things into a system. Uh, this is interesting too. I love this. Our wiring is unhelpful. If you've been on any sessions with me before, you know I'm kind of a brain nerd. I like talking about the neuroscience. Uh, and our brains are wired to notice the negative more than the positive. We're hardwired that way. So if you know anything about the brain, the hind part of our brain, it's called the amygdala, and it's in charge of our fight or flight or freeze responses. It's what a lot of people call our cave person brain, right? Because it didn't think things out. It was very instinctive. That's a saber-toothed tiger. I need to run, right? I'm not going to see if the kitty is friendly. I'm not going to try to pet it. And it kept us alive, for years and years and years. It was very protective. Um, but sometimes this is, we're still hardwired this way to notice the negative more than the positive. There's a great book called Hardwiring Happiness by Dr. Rick Hanson. And he says our brains are Velcro for the bad and Teflon for the good. So we're going to hold on to negative longer. And again, it's hardwired to keep us alive. We lick a berry or a leaf, that's poison. Okay, I'm going to remember that next time. Here's the little test. Play along with me. Which one can you recall faster? And if you want to play along, you can let me know in the chat. Which one can you recall faster? The last compliment someone gave you or a childhood insult? Go. Whoops. Right? Probably not great that we're holding on to, Sally calling us a loser in grade 7, but yeah, yikes. Um, Sometimes we can recall the negative more often or more frequent. You're still getting mad. Yeah, absolutely, right? It still bugs you today. But our wiring is unhelpful. So there's things we can do, and that book is great about talking about how to hold on to positive. So when there is a positive experience, revisiting it sooner and intentionally staying with it longer. So frequency and duration actually can start to change our rewiring around negative experiences. This is a cool one too. The more drained our emotional cup is, the more inclined we are to try refilling it with the things that drain it even more. So a long quote, a lot of words. What it means is, when we're, at a deficit, we tend to default to the lowest common denominator. When we're tired and stressed, that's when we, binge watch. That's when we doom scroll. That's when we reach for the wine or the chocolate. When we're feeling more motivated, we're more likely to do something that is good for us. Eat a healthy meal, go for a walk, those kind of things. So this is another great book. We suggest books all the time, but Rachel Barr, again, brain nerd, so I like this stuff. But yeah, when we're depleted, when we're not at our best, we default to the lowest common denominator or the easiest choice, the path of least resistance. And sometimes that are things that are just going to deplete us even more. I do stupid things, but I have no time, like organize my kitchen drawer. Right, right. Yeah, I have so many things to do, but this junk drawer really needs my attention right now. So yeah, we get stuck on a task. Thank you so much for sharing, Michelle. Cool, right? Here's the truth. We are humans. One of our values here at Think Productive, if you've been on any of our programs, is human, not superhero. And as a human, we need things like breaks. We need things like rest. Sometimes the best thing you can do for you or your team is get that good night's sleep. Okay, tell me in the chat. Let me know. First response, what comes to your mind? What is your first instinct when your phone is on red? What is your first instinct? Let me know in the chat. Your battery's on red for your phone. Plug it in. Charge it. Right? There's a little bit of panic. Charge! Who has a square bit? I need to charge my phone like right now. Yeah, when our bodies are on red, typically the first thing we do is how much can I push through? Right? Let's keep going. Uh, I hope you all think this is backwards, right? And I'm going to implore you, because now we're friends, to treat yourself better than you treat your cell phone. So when your body is giving you those cues, those signs that maybe our batteries in the red, try not to squeeze out that last little bit, and instead find your square bit, right? Get some rest, take a break. You will only come back better for it as well. So let's look at some breaks or maybe even pauses we can be having in our day. A micro pause, a daily pause, a weekly pause. Micro pauses, 2 5 minutes, in duration. They're just that momentary reset. Um, Let me know in the chat. How do you already do this? Do you have any, micro pauses built into your day? I have a couple. One is the 20-20-20 rule. So that's for your eyes. So when you're at your screens, mobile, computer screen, every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet in the distance for about 20 seconds. Hold your gaze on something that far away for about 20 seconds. It takes some of the strain away from your eyes from being on our screens too much. So I do that one frequently, several times throughout the day. I love a quick pause, just intentional. Our world right now is so go, 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 go. For me, and I use this all the time, and I'm being honest, it is very valuable for me to just stop for a second and say, okay, what am I on to? What is the best use of my time? Oh, okay, let's go. That pause is incredibly valuable for me. So those are a couple of versions of micro pauses I work into my day. Some of you are putting these things into the chat now. I think about something I can see, hear, smell, and feel. Anna, what a great grounding technique. I do a little bit of meditation. This is such a great grounding technique, our five senses, especially, and you're right on theme to today, when there's too much overload, when there's too much overwhelm. What is here with me right now in the present? What is something I can hear in the background? What is something I can see? What is something I can smell? What is something tangible I can feel? Love, love, love that. Thank you, Anna. Lay down around lunchtime on a yoga mat, close my eyes for about 5 to 10 minutes in your office. Right. Wonderful. I bet you it has so much value. Stand up and step away and look outside. Right. So much benefit, right? Let's try one. Let's try one together. I hadn't planned on this, but we can do it. 1 minute of just breathing. I'll time us. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. If you're not, don't. I can't see you. Doesn't matter. But just think to yourself with each inhale, I'm inhaling. And with each exhale, just think, I'm exhaling. I'm just going to time us for 1 minute. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. And welcome back. How did that feel? There's probably two camps. Some of us felt like, oh, I needed that. That was not a minute. That was only 10 seconds. Some of you are like, Nick, that was 37 minutes. Why did you do that to us? If you felt any benefit from that, use it. I know you're busy. I'm willing to bet you have a lot on your plate. I'm also willing to bet you have 1 minute if you found that beneficial. Feels like the first bit of time you've breathed today. Nice. So yeah, felt great. Glad to hear it. Nice. Use it, right? I'm willing to bet you have a minute. Daily pauses. Again, some of us are already doing those 5-10 minutes of just being outside. Maybe this is walking the dog. Maybe this is phoning a friend. Maybe it's a standing meeting. Maybe we're just getting out and walking for 10 minutes. Uh, you know, Weekly pauses, taking a designated evening off or taking the weekend off, or if you don't work in that way, what are those times you'll take off instead of being on all the time? Yeah, no work on Sunday is a great example. No emails, past 7 or whatever it is for you. And again, very much related to breaks is sleep. And the expert on sleep, Ariana Huffington, right? If you take care of your mind, you can take care of the world. Started the sleep revolution. Sometimes, again, the best thing we can do is just get that night's sleep. Most of us need that 7 to 9 hours. There are outliers that exist in the world, but most of us need it. And again, it's no longer, a myth. It's required for us to be at our best. So, are you getting the right amount of sleep for your body? Another one, right? We're human. We're human, and that means we need things like breaks, like rest, like hydration, like nutrition. And you've heard the phrase eat the rainbow before, right? Are you getting a variety of different colorful fruits and vegetables and foods? On the hydration side, are you drinking less water than your plants? Because we should probably fix that, right? Make it easy. Keep it nearby. Cheers, right? So a little bit of things that we know, right? These things are simple, but not always easy. So what can we do to make it easier? You know, if if we have cookies in the cupboard, we're going to eat them. I am. If we're making healthier choices at the store, then the healthier choices become easier when we're at home as well. And again, we need movement. We do. We're just human. We're wired this way. Not all of us have, a standing desk or a walking pad. If you do, great. I'm sitting right now. Sometimes for our larger workshops, I'll be standing. Changes my energy, changes my dynamics, certainly. But make sure we get a little bit of movement for our overall energy, our overall well-being. It doesn't have to be a big workout, but what could you do to incorporate just a little bit more movement or motion in your day? I've got a cheater right here, right? Just a little weight, nothing amazing, 5 pounds, 6 pounds. But every once in a while, if you're in a breakout room on my sessions, I'm just stretching a little bit, right? And I make it easy because it's right there. If there's resistance, we don't do things. Uh, uh, I don't even have to tell you, right? You know what this image means. Put on your own mask first. We can't pour from an empty cup. A lot of parents give me a pushback on this. Um, you're going to take care of your littles first, and I get that. But you know what the metaphor means. We're well-intentioned people. We want to help others. Sometimes the best way we can help others is by helping ourselves. And again, take care of our brain, take care of our body, taking care of our mental, emotional, and spiritual health. It's only when we're able to help others that we're in a good position to do so. So whatever analogy you like, put on your own mask first. You can't pour from an empty cup. But that one is, again, certainly important. Here's the other thing with being human. We need fun, rest, breaks, hydration, nutrition, fun, right? What we learned from the pandemic is we're social creatures. We need engagement. We need fun. I can't have everything depend on me. You're right, Michelle. Absolutely. So what are some things, let me know in the chat. What's your deep fuel? What is the thing that fires you up? What is the thing that you love doing? Is it cooking? Is it walking? Is it dancing? Is it all of the above? What's your fuel? What's your enjoyment? Uh, it's incredibly powerful to build this stuff in, right? Intentionally. What are some of the things that you dancing? Yeah, walking out, going for a beer. I think we're going to be friends, Michelle. Let's go for a beer and have a dance. This is amazing. Time in nature. Yeah, and absolutely. Especially this time of year, hikes, right? Hitting the gym, yoga, nature, right? Okay, so we've got beer versus wine. We have camps forming. Yeah, Marshall, just a long walk, playing your guitar. Love it, right? This is incredible stuff. And thank you all for sharing. Are we intentional about making time for this stuff? Right? We tend to put like the budget proposal on the calendar. We tend to put like the meeting on the calendar. Are we carving out space intentionally for this? Thursday, 3:15, going for a walk. You know, Friday, 12:30, I'm having a beer, right? Like build it in to the calendar. Be intentional about that. You know, my background is in comedy and theater. Surprise, I'm not a born trainer. So I try to have, especially in the summertime, at least a theater show or a concert every couple of months on the calendar. So I have something to look forward to as well, right? Speaking of looking forward, sometimes we're so much looking forward, so much about what is now and what is next that sometimes we forget how far we've come, right? And I think it's incredibly important sometimes. I have to remind myself to take time. Yeah. Uh, it's incredibly important to look how far you've come, right? Look at how far we've come, baby. Nothing succeeds like success. So in those moments of doubt, when we're having that imposter syndrome that we all have, look back on all the wins you've had, right? We are very big at Think Productive at celebrating success, calling out little wins. We're not looking to be perfect. We're looking for progress. This is something that lives on my desk. I'll show you. It might be in reverse on your screen, but you'll understand it. It just says progress, and it's not a straight line, right? But we're very anti-perfection and very pro-progress. We have something at Think Productive called a ta-da list, not a to-do list. We all have those. A ta-da list is, a collection of praise, compliments, wins. Have you ever received a thank you from a client from a job well done? Have you ever received a kudos from a team member? We have a folder of those. So we'll have our ta-da moments, our champagne moments that we'll share. And it's, humble brags about, hey, how awesome are we? Look at all the stuff, the wins we've had this week, this month. So that's another thing that we like to incorporate is these ta-da moments, these celebrations, and we normalize it. Wow, already coming up on time. We'll give everyone a minute. What's one thing? You might not fill all three. If you do, great. But one thing you'll commit to experimenting with this week, or maybe even later today. Take a moment to jot some things down for yourself. Once you've done that, if you're comfortable sharing in the chat, we'd love to hear it. Are you going to be intentional about taking a break? Are you going to eat the rainbow? What is it for you? What are you going to try? Yeah, I love that. Building in time for activities I enjoy. Thanks, Marshall. Nice. Putting fun rest actually on the calendar for next week. Trying it. Love it. Thanks, Michelle. Oh, team, again, we're coming up on time. We've only scratched the surface. I'll stick around for a little bit for Q&A, but this is where we've pulled most of our content from today. If you're interested, how to be a productivity ninja, our full day session, and a productivity ninja's guide to human, not superhero. You've heard me say those terms already today. That's one of our core values. And our free skill booster hub. So if you like this one and you know someone else, a colleague who would enjoy it, all these get recorded and put on our Skills Booster Hub for free. So we can send that out to people. And that gives you the reminder for when the next Skills Booster is coming. Let's put a bow on this. Any questions? Free to open things up for a Q&A. You can pop it into the chat if there's anything you need clarity on. Maybe while people are thinking or popping it into the chat. We like free things. So again, Graham wrote the book, How to Be a Productivity Ninja. He also wrote this one, How to Have the Energy. So this is kind of what we've been talking about today. So we're going to give away a copy of that book today if you're willing to take our survey. So there's a QR code there. Take a scan of that if you want to access the survey. It's not long, I promise, 2 minutes. But again, I hope you can tell I love what I do, and if I could get better at it, that's valuable to me. So if there's any feedback, let us know how you did. There's also the link there on the survey. And if you fill out the survey, you'll be entered in our draw to win How to Have the Energy. Brilliant. I'll leave that up and I'll just say my thank yous and my goodbyes. I'll stick around for a couple minutes if anyone does have a question. Happy to answer it. But if not, friends, time flies when we're having fun. So thank you so much for joining this week. All the best to you. Be safe and well. Cheers. Yeah, you're very welcome. That's very kind. Cheers. Thank you.